Welcome to Technical Leadership Talks, the podcast that brings you advice, insights, and knowledge from industry leaders and experts on how to navigate managing in a technical field. Technical Leadership Talks is brought to you by Texas A&M University's Master of Engineering Technical Management, an online graduate program that trains industry professionals for leadership positions. I'm Katie, METM's digital marketer and your host for this episode. In today's episode, we are featuring Christopher Jimenez. Chris is a combat veteran engineer and founder and coach at EQ Discovery. Today, through the lens of Chris's life and career story, we are discussing how to harness emotional intelligence to overcome challenges.
Hi, Katie. Pleasure to be here. So a little bit about my background. So I started my career straight out of high school. I joined the U.S. Army, serving under the Civil Affairs and Psychological Operations Command as a Civil Affairs Sergeant. Here I deployed across the world, Iraq, Afghanistan, Thailand, a lot of regions in the Pacific Command. And my job as a Civil Affairs Sergeant was to win the hearts and minds of the locals. And we did that through building trust, connecting with them, bridging our cultures together. And a lot of it was over, negotiating over civil military operations. And so after 8 years of doing that, I pursued my education. I became an engineer, specializing in safety and fire protection. And I worked primarily in oil and gas in the energy field. I also spent years working offshore as an operations engineer. Here I led multiple maintenance campaigns, and then I transitioned into project controls. Project controls was great until COVID hit. Of course, a lot of people were affected by this, but my family and I were hit pretty hard. My wife lost her job. I lost my job. We had just had a newborn, and things were a little messy, but we did find work. We ended up moving to Kansas, and we stayed there for a little shy of 2 years. And within that time, we moved 4 times. We also welcomed a new baby. And so there was a lot of learning. I was tested for sure, but I was also attending Texas A&M's Master of Engineering Technical Management at the time. So I was very busy. And really that program was the catalyst that helped me pursue my passion. And now I call my purpose. And now I'm the founder of EQ Discovery. It's a coaching platform with the goal of helping others discover the best version of themselves, all through self-discovery and emotional self-awareness, and also resiliency. That's a huge part. I'm also coaching with A&M's METM program.
So how did your experience in combat shape your perspective on leadership and resilience?
Well, combat taught me an incredible amount through self-discovery, especially in leadership. So I set at about 5'5" at best. I'm not a big guy. During my time in the military, I was 25 in a leadership position, and it was difficult to communicate with guys almost twice my age and definitely almost twice my size. They just didn't want to hear anything I had to say.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
Yeah. And not only that, I look young. So that was really hard, but I had to improvise. I couldn't come at them head on and fight fire with fire. So early on, I learned, okay, I have to use logic to extinguish any aggression or emotion that they may be having. So this was kind of eye-opening at a young age, especially, in combat, because even though you have to bark orders to get things done, sometimes I saw better team cohesion and connection and unity when we connected on a real level, when we were open and honest with each other and really seeing where they were coming from, living life in their shoes. We also had soldiers that didn't want to go out the wire. And for any listeners who don't know what go out the wire means, it's leaving base to go out on a mission. And so they didn't want to leave because they were going to be going on leave soon. And so every deployment, you're granted 2 weeks to go home. And usually it's filled with, seeing all your family, eating lots of great food and
I bet.
And having lots of drinks. And so they had a fear that they would die if they went out, and they were just so eager to get back home. Yeah. So it made it difficult to work with these strong emotions, but facing these fears through reassurance and trying to motivate them is kind of really what drove our resiliency, our ability to keep going.
When did you become more aware of emotional intelligence as something that can be studied and used as like a tool almost?
Yes. So that's a good question, because what really struck me was during those hard years, as I mentioned, I was also facing PTSD. I always was able to keep my cool, but then I began act and being emotionally hijacked.
Can you explain what you mean by emotionally hijacked?
Yes. So emotionally hijacked is basically where your emotions drive your decision making, and there's no logic explanation for what you're doing. So it's almost like your fight or flight response is what it is, and you react based purely on emotion rather than responding, which is thinking through things logically. And so, going back to how I really found EQ is during these hard years, difficult years, I was also experiencing post-traumatic stress because in my time in Afghanistan, we did see combat. I've been through combat, but it was an unlikely event. It was a very sad event. We unfortunately killed a young girl, and at a young age, you compartmentalize that, and you push it to the back of your head, and hopefully it never comes out again. But after having my daughter, about 6 weeks, 2 months around that time after having her, I began seeing those memories and those images in Afghanistan, but this time with my daughter in that place. And so I became overly protective. I was not fun to be around, and it really caused problems actually with my personal life. My wife and we really struggled during this time. We struggled to communicate. I owe a lot to Dr. Benzogi because he really helped me communicate what I was feeling. He helped me with his knowledge, his tools that he taught on managing emotions and managing yourself. And so it required me to, take myself out of that deep hole that I was in and really focus on, what do I have control over? What can I manage? Which is typically just myself. Everything out of that is just influence, and you can't be persuaded, I guess, by that outside force.
So how has EQ helped you overcome challenges in your life and career? You talked a little bit about how it's helped you with the PTSD and with your relationships in your life. Is there anything else you want to add to it?
Yeah. I think I think we go throughout our daily lives living it, and there's no class on how to manage emotions growing up. So everything that we do is by nature what we've been doing all along, and you tend to become complacent sometimes. So you don't realize what you're saying or how you're coming off, how you're communicating to others. Basically your self-awareness sometimes is not there. But it's only because we go throughout our daily lives just living, going to work, going to school, or doing the same things over and over. You tend to forget those little things like how you came off or how you sounded, reading other people's social cues. And so EQ has really helped me overcome those areas where it's not just fight or flight. It's not, remove the threat, as you would say in the military, but it's realizing, okay, this is not a threat. How can I come at this in a logical way, and overcome and win, become a victor in this situation.
Why did you make the choice to start your own company and help others with EQ?
Yeah, simply put, EQ helped me, and now I want to give back. It helped me so much. It strengthened my marriage, strengthened the relationship with my children. My performance improved at work, and it was just mainly all just about being self-aware. Because then once you're self-aware, trickles down into other skills. And yeah, so at that point, I said, I really want to help others. And it made me feel good.
Yeah.
It was all about, filling your cup.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's like, what can I do to fill my cup? And it wasn't just about, looking inward, but looking outward, not just about what can I feed myself? It was more of, giving to others. Really allowed me to find clarity and pursue a new purpose.
I know what you do with METM with coaching. So you meet one-on-one with people, and you speak with them about problems they're having, whether it's at work and other places. Is that what you do in your company as well? Could you explain a little bit about what you do there?
It's actually very similar to coaching at METM.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not therapy,
Yeah.
and it's not consulting. It's coaching. It's self-discovery, because I feel like most of us have the answers to the questions and challenges that we face. It's just really digging deep and, lifting those insecurities, that anxiety. They're the barriers that get in our way.
I am going to plug your company here. Can you repeat what it's called again?
Yes. EQ Discovery.
Okay. And I'll put it in the description. So if people want to go and click on it, they can get a link straight to it. What habits or practices do you recommend to strengthen EQ over time?
So there's actually a few, I would say 5 that I really like doing. First thing would be breathing. And it sounds simple, but it's when you're stressed, when you're under pressure, it's really hard to focus. And so when you take that deep breath, it triggers your parasympathetic nervous system, which allows your body to relax, allows your brain to relax. And so with that relaxation, there comes a little clarity. You can make the best decision and move forward. So breathing is very important, whether it's one big one, whether it's the box breathing. You breathe in for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, release for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, and you do that over and over. What I like to do personally also is I do a daily check-in. So I'm a morning shower kind of guy. I take 1 minute to be mindful. I close my eyes. What am I feeling? I can feel the water on my skin. I can feel, the cool air. And I ask myself, how am I feeling? How will I show up today? And what is it that I can give others, or what is it that others may need from me today? And kind of puts me in the right, head space to start my day out, and provides clarity. Another one is I actually like to give myself a high five in the morning.
I love that.
Yeah, because we all need self-confidence. It's huge. Our self-regard really is super important. It's how we carry ourselves every day. So if you carry yourself, strong and energized, then most likely your day is going to be a strong and energized day. So morning high fives are important. And then journaling, which is really difficult. It's difficult to get used to and get into the habit of journaling. For me, I do it when I start my day at my desk. I have a notebook, and it actually looks more of like a to-do list, but with how I'm feeling and what's going through my head. So they're bulleted, and it just helps me get whatever's in my head, whatever's, messy self-talk that I have at the moment, get it out. I can see it. I can read it clearly. I can acknowledge it. And then I can, hopefully acknowledge it without any judgment. And then move forward after I've gained the clarity. And then the last thing, which is really important, that I've found is finding gratitude. It's reflecting on the things that you're grateful for. And at first I did it at various times of the day. In the mornings, I would, recall what were 3 great things that happened yesterday, or at night, laying next to my wife, I would say, hey, what are 3 things that went great for you today? And it really helped hearing it from somebody else. And typically she would ask me right after, and I would tell her. So it both put us in a really good state to be grateful, happy, relaxed, calm, and we go to sleep. But now, with my two girls, we'll be eating at the dinner table.
Mm-hmm.
And I forgot who shared this, but I picked it up where after dinner, where you feel full and you feel great, I go around the table and I ask, okay, what are we grateful for? It kind of puts a cherry on the top of
the day.
The day. Yeah. And, because a full tummy, you feel good, with good food. And so, talking about the things that you're grateful for just kind of empowers that feeling even more. So it's a great reflection tool and allows me to kind of just brush away any negative feelings or any of that bad self-talk or imposter syndrome and realize that I have a great life.
Thank you for listening in to today's episode. Tech Leadership Talks is brought to you by Texas A&M University's Master of Engineering Technical Management. To learn more, visit metm.tamu.edu.